What up, Pac-12 fans? We have another episode for you today, and we will be discussing more about the Clay Helton firing, a little bit more about Donte Williams coming in as the interim head coach. We'll finally talk about that game, the USC versus Stanford game, and what led to Clay Helton getting fired, and then we will preview USC versus WSU. So a lot going on, but it's all USC today. So make sure you stay tuned.
You are Locked On Pac-12, your daily podcast on the Pac-12 Conference. It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to another episode of Locked On Pac-12, where we give you everything you need to know about the Conference of Champions. There's no better place to get all your Pac-12 conference news than the Locked On Pac-12 podcast. Follow the Locked On Pac-12 podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast. And then make sure you subscribe here to the YouTube channel. This will be another outlet for you guys to keep in contact with everything Pac-12. Today joining me is Locked On USC host, Lauren Jones. Lauren, how's it going today?
It's going better now that game from Stanford and this coach is behind us. I'll say that much.
I will let you know now, I'm not letting you escape without talking about it. Like, I know you don't want to, and I know it's a sore spot, but it is what it is. We got it. We have to get out the way. But we'll talk about that a little later. We're going to kick things off here with talks about the Clay Helton firing. News dropped yesterday, midday. We were actually texting at the time that it dropped, and we were like, oh shoot, like, gotta plan this episode. What were your first thoughts when you heard about the firing?
Finally.
Spoken like a true Trojan fan, Trojan alum.
Yes, I mean, honestly, I feel like he got way too much time to just really take us nowhere. And we were going nowhere fast, obviously, to start off the season, which, we tend to be somewhere ranked in the top 25 to start off, most seasons. But to start off at 14 and to have such a great, home opener showing, and then for that to just completely unravel against who I'd consider to be one of our rivals in conference, it was just like, enough is enough. We need to make some changes and make some changes fast. Honestly, the fact that they even waited until Monday was, to me, like, I would be like, pack it up right after we leave the conference.
Get it out of here.
Yeah, go ahead and pack up your office on your way out. Yeah.
So, a lot of people were wondering, and this was a question I got yesterday quite often, why do you think that USC waited till the start of the season, second game in, to make this change? Why didn't they make the change in the offseason to give the team a chance to actually, prepare with a new coach and have that coach already in the system?
I think that tends to be our default, is to let coaches linger on for far too long and then fire them, in the season. At least it wasn't, 6 games in or whatever have you, further into the season. I feel like that's kind of been the MO of both, directors of the programs, prior to and, the current one. And I think really it came down to, like, he had until 2023 on his contract. They're going to have to pay him out $12 million. So they were just trying to maybe give him, that last opportunity and make it work for that sake. Maybe it was a numbers game. But in terms of performance, it's just like year after year, we're just left so disappointed. And, I came in during the time of Lane Kiffin, and, we had some, very successful athletes and talent. But even during that time, it's just been, just sad for us Trojan fans. We start off the season, ranked in all kind of different, areas, or could be higher, could be lower. But then by the second, third game, you just start to realize, like, this is going nowhere fast once again with all this talent that we have, on the field. And it's just not fair to them, in my opinion. So we want to have the best opportunity to win. And clearly Clay Helton wasn't the fit for that. But, best of luck to him. I really felt like we should have hired Ed Orgeron back when we had the chance, when he was the interim head coach. So hopefully they'll just make the right decision this time in terms of a leader that can take our program to that next level. But we shall see.
When it comes to the interim coach that was named in his place, what are your thoughts? That's Donte Williams. He's the cornerback coach. Sorry.
Yeah,
so already in the mix, already in the system. But like, what are your thoughts about him taking over for however long he will be in that position?
Well, I don't think that many of us get to know the, position coaches very well in the public eye. But I know that he was named last year the associate head coach for the Trojans. So I know that he does have some of that, leadership quality. He's also a Los Angeles native. So much love to him for, becoming the first Black head coach, whether it's interim or not. That's just a huge accomplishment, especially for, a hometown guy. But, I think we'll see. Obviously, not much, you didn't get much notice, but if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And we're hoping that, he's able to get us a win against, your Cougs this weekend, and bounce back and get back on the right track for the sake of the rest of the season.
All right. Well, we'll dive more into the matchup that's coming up this weekend and the matchup that just passed by. I know Lauren's trying to avoid it, but I can't avoid it too much longer, sis. I'm sorry. We got to talk about it. But coming up next, that we'll discuss that. For now, college football fanatics, have you heard about Prize Picks? Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. I love this, and I know you will too. Prize Picks is a leader in college sports daily fantasy. They offer more college football props than anyone in the world, and all the offers of the star players of the Power Five, as well as mid-major players you might not have ever even heard of. So Prize Picks offers any prop you can think of, from yardage to touchdowns, even interceptions thrown. All of the users that deposit and use promo code, what is the promo code? Let me find it. I think it's Locked On. I'm gonna double check for you though. But whoever uses the promo code, they'll receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100. So you pick 2 to 5 players and over and under on their projections, and you can win up to 10 times on any entry that is just you versus the projected numbers. So Prize Picks allows mixed sports entries. Use the award-winning app on both the App Store and Google Play. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's literally that easy. Prize Picks is safe and offers fast withdrawals. Look at me, my voice right now. I can't get the words right. I'm sorry, y'all. But don't hesitate. Check out prizepicks.com or go to your app store and download the app today. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. Now, I love to help you guys earn money, but I also like to help you save money. And the best place to do that, as far as, when it comes to your car auto parts and repairs and stuff, is rockauto.com. Save time and money when using Rock Auto. They're a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. You literally can save up to 30%, 50%, even 100% when it comes to buying auto parts, because, chain stores will tend to overprice you. Same thing with dealerships. Rock Auto has literally every part you could ever need. Their prices are reliably low. That's for every customer. It's not just for, if you're an auto person or whatever the case may be. It's for everyone. Literally have everything: brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, and even new carpet. So go explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solution to your auto part needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck, and write Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. All right, Lauren. It's the time. It's so funny calling you Lauren too, because we're actually friends, so I call you Lo Joe. So if you guys hear me say that every now and then, That's just,
Hey, I go by it all. I mean,
Exactly.
yeah, I was like, I don't even know to put. I was like, do I put low?
I know, right? Like, I mean, it's in your Twitter
Lauren?
bio, but like, okay, I guess we'll be professional, Cindy Robinson, Lauren Jones, but this is low. Like, that's how we usually talk. But yes, I'm sorry the time has come. We have to talk about this USC Stanford game because this is the game that seems to have broke the camel's back when it came to the Trojans getting rid of Clay Helton and making a change in that head coaching position. So let's just talk about what went wrong. Like, what is it that the Trojans struggled on where they just weren't connecting and just couldn't get it together in this game?
Well, I think we set the tone with the first play of the game. That kicker Parker Lewis getting ejected for targeting on the first play against the Stanford's return man, and then, following that up with an 87-yard touchdown by their running back. I just think it pretty much set the tone for the game. I don't even know how many kickers have been ejected like ever, but especially for targeting. So it just was all downhill from there pretty much. I mean, USC went scoreless in the first quarter. The defense that looked pretty promising and like they were, the ones kind of anchoring the team was falling apart left and right. I mean, it was ugly. It was ugly. And, as a Trojan fan, but also, having covered the team for a while, I just feel like that was one of the worst Stanford losses in like recent history. It was like at the Coliseum nonetheless. So I think that, ultimately all those factors really did kind of put pressure on, Mike Bond to ultimately make the change that he needed to. Fans were literally booing, USC in the Coliseum. Like, that's just not the standard that we hold for our football team. And, 42-28. I mean, just the score alone is just like, what? Especially when we came in as 17-point favorites over Stanford, and especially when they were coming off of a loss. So it just was so many factors that went in, and I think maybe, USC didn't prepare as heavily as they should have. Maybe, the practice that we discussed, what should be happening. Oh, no worries. No, that's how I feel. I feel like just sick to my stomach from the ridiculousness that I witnessed on Saturday evening, thinking that, I had all my USC gear on. I had to switch out my hat mid-game. Like, oh, this is not going anywhere soon. So I'm embarrassed. But yeah, I just think that there were so many things that kind of contributed to it. And of course, like, I feel like with rivalry games, Stanford's going to put their best foot forward, especially knowing that it's a, big prime game coming into the Coliseum. It's always going to be a challenge. And I think that they rose to the occasion, whereas we kind of just fell apart and we really got exposed in many ways.
So, I mean, it was very clear that USC were the favorites coming into this game. Stanford isn't I don't even think Stanford's in the top 25 right now.
Yeah, neither of us are now. So
yeah. Let's talk about that. How does it? Do you know you fell out completely from the top 25?
That's my understanding.
Okay, so how does that feel? I know the initial thought of it, but is it one of those?
We've been here before.
Okay,
we have been here before, and I just think it was a sloppy game. So there's not much that we could hold our hats on to be like, oh well, at least the offense held it down. Well, no, it was penalties all over the place on both sides. It was and third down efficiency was terrible. I think we went 4 for 14 for completion on third down. I mean, and that's really where, we can change the momentum of games when you're getting those extra plays and yards. So it was dismal. I mean, it was, there's not
a happy time to talk about at all.
No.
Do you feel like it's early enough? Like, you have confidence in what this team can do as far as turning their season around? It's still only 2 games in. Do you feel like they can rise back up, get back into that top 25 and actually still make a difference in the Pac-12 and, get to a championship?
I'll say this. I do think that it's possible. We saw two completely different teams from week 1 to week 2, and that's very alarming, I think, for a lot of Trojan fans, because it's like, which team is really us? I know that coaching obviously does have a lot to do with it, but I think that, seeing some of the things that we saw in this past weekend against Stanford are concerning for like the future of turning things around. I'm not saying it can't be done, but I do think that there's a lot of work to be done as well. And, the defense is going to have to rebound from, a really tough showing against Stanford. But I think our schedule lends itself to give us a little leeway to do so. And that's the part that I'm optimistic about. These next few teams are teams that we have historically, performed pretty well against and have winning records against. So I'm hoping that gives us, the time we need to get it together before we see, some of the bigger opponents. But yeah, like these next 2 games, I think hopefully will be wins. And that includes you.
I don't know about that one. All right, well, coming up next, we will dive into the Washington State versus USC game that will be happening this weekend. Lauren already knows this is the one time that I can't root for the Trojans. So we're going to get into all of that. But before we do, need to let you know about BetOnline.ag, another way for you to put in some bets and make some money. We're back and better than ever. All eyes are on the gridiron as teams are back on to start another football season. As always, BetOnline is your number one spot for all the pro and college football action this season. With a new updated site and interface, even more odds, props, and contests, BetOnline.ag continues to be the number one source for everything football. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive your 100% welcome bonus. That's double your initial deposit just for signing up. Don't forget to use promo code NFL100. From football, basketball, boxing, right to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports. BetOnline is your online sportsbook experts. You can also use promo code Locked On for some other perks or discounts, whatever the case may be. But make sure you check it out and take advantage of that.
I'm going to take advantage of that. I also was like, Vegas?
Yeah, that sounds a little interesting, right? Okay, time for us to jump into this matchup. And it's the one time a year that I always tell people, like whenever Washington State and USC face each other, because I get this question a lot, right? Yeah. People tend to be hating that I can root for 2 teams. I'm like, look, as long as I got 2 degrees, I attended 2 schools, competed for one, paid for the other, like I can root for who I want to root for.
Absolutely.
But when they face each other, my allegiance definitely lies with Washington State.
Why is that, Cindy? I'm just curious.
Well, I actually competed for Washington State. So, as an athlete, it hits different. You got to root for your fellow athletes at that school. Now, any other team in the Pac-12? Go Trojans. Go Cougs separately, it's always love. But this type of game, I have a video, actually. I wish I could share it. But I have a video of me watching a former game of USC versus Washington State.
I
was donned in my Washington State. For whatever reason, I usually have a Washington State shirt on when I'm recording on accident. And for today, I didn't, unfortunately. But yes, I had all the.
I couldn't even wear my USC gear like this whole week because I'm just like so embarrassed.
You're ashamed right now. Okay,
it's in the back of the closet right now.
Look, you might want to keep it back there this weekend because you might be ashamed to get. Okay, so let's dive into this though. We know what USC wants to work on, needs to work on to prepare for this game. Just some key things to know about Washington State. Jaden Delora leads the team with 155 passing yards and has a 54.5% completion percentage this year, which is great for him because he didn't really have a full offseason, didn't even know if he was going to be the quarterback. He stepped up in that position. And I definitely think they showed a better team against Portland State. Again, it is Portland State. So USC, this will be not only their first conference game of the year for Washington State, but also a huge opponent in USC, regardless of what happened last week. I still think of USC as a top caliber team in this Pac-12. Now, depends on which one we get this weekend, but I'm sure that the Cougs are hoping they get the team that Stanford got.
Well, I don't know if Washington State is the team that Stanford can be.
Ooh, the shots are fired.
It's a little shade. But
Shots
we won
are fired.
37 of the last 43 matchups against Washington State, including the 38-13 win last year at Washington. And so I have a lot of confidence that if we drop this game, our season is over with pretty much. But
don't be so negative. Don't be so
negative. I'm kidding. There's still a lot of football left, and we're just getting started. But no, I have a lot of confidence that they will come out, and knowing the Trojan way we fight on, to see another Saturday and to compete. So a 12:30 kickoff, we're ready to travel to Pullman and to pull out a win.
I had to pull up the weather in Pullman. I was trying to see what it was going to be like this Saturday, and because it is in Pullman, and I'll say this: Cougars usually play well in Martin Stadium. The fans usually show up. It's a great crowd. Lucky for us, the stadium is on campus, so they usually get a pretty good amount of people that show up. But the weather is going to be a little tricky on Saturday. It says 60% chance of rain and 57 degrees is the high. So I don't know who that's going to help or benefit, if any team. I will say Cougars should be used to, that type of weather and stuff, but it's going to be the first time probably of the year that they have to play in that, and it might be ugly for both sides. So interested to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, we're getting our kicker back, so Parker Lewis, please no more targeting.
I feel like we need to have a friendly wager here. So for our next episode,
I'm here for it.
I feel like maybe the next episode, whoever loses it's kind of not fair to me though, because it's a win-win regardless.
Yeah, we're not doing jerseys for sure. Not. I mean, you might as well have a split shirt anyway.
We gotta think of a good bet to make this juicy.
Yes, I'm down.
We'll offline it, and then we'll let you all know what we what we figured out. Okay, well, Lauren, thank you as always for joining us. It's always a pleasure. You always bring great insight, and I'm so excited to have you part of the team. Still right now, her show has not started quite yet. No. But it's on the way, and until
in production, we're ready. We're gearing up.
Right. And until then, she will be able to come on here and share any news, insight, whatever she needs to keep you guys up to date on USC. So don't worry, the channel may not be up, but we still have all the news you need right here on Locked On Pac-12. For those of you that, are into betting and want to take advantage of all the little betting options we've given you today, and you need more advice though on what to bet, check out the new Locked On Bets podcast, hosted by your boy Q and handicapping expert Lee Sterling. You can get daily picks, blowout specials, wrong team favorite picks, and Lee Sterling's lock of the day. So follow the Locked On Bets podcast, brought to you by BetOnline.ag, wherever you get podcasts. And then follow the Locked On Pac-12 podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are definitely live. Got it going on here. Trying to build up this community so we have different ways for you to listen and get all the info you need on the Pac-12. Make sure you follow along on Twitter at LO_Pac-12. For me, _Cindy Robinson. And then for Lauren at Lojo Media. She'll definitely be tweeting about USC this season. So keep your eyes peeled there and follow along for this ride of college football season. And soon we'll be talking college basketball as well. So it's a lot going on. Make sure you guys stay locked on the Pac-12 on the Locked On Network. Thank you for tuning in. Oh, not the fight on. Go Cougs!